Hi, also welcome to another day on this JMeter training, and very good evening to all. So we are in this steps, right? So till last session we have discussed all these points, and yeah, we have completed till this point recording end-to-end flow with best practices, right? So that is done, and hope all of you have watched the videos as well. So now announcement, right? So in announcement. Um, okay, so let's talk about announcement. First, let us open the script. So we have pet store here, and uh, this is the file right working on. We'll be working on this. So I'll open that. This file, it was the old one, right, or which is the original one also. That we can move in archive folder, so that confusion should not be there. So I moved that in archive. Archive means like archive, right? Meaning of archive is like old stuff or kind of library or old thing kept somewhere. That is so like that unnecessary thing or old thing will keep here so that in future if we need we can always take it. All right. Recording log also is not that much always important, so I've kept it here. Um, and outside is the main script. So now we are going to do announcement. So I'll open this script. So opening script is very easy. Either you can click on this and you can just navigate to this website and click on open, or you can drag and drop it. So like this is script, you can just drag and drop it. So that way, uh, uh, yeah, that way it will be open. Fine. So I have opened that. Let us open the recording log as well. So the path is showing here. Generally, we don't keep it. We'll go to browse. It's here and select it again. And if you'll click on open again, it will open. And after like loading all those recording logs, we will be not keeping all this stuff. We will delete this. Fine. Okay. So in announcement, uh, this is done. Next, give the scenario name to test plan and thread group. So a name we can give here also. We can, like this thread group. Thread group will act as a business scenario, right? In beginning also, I think. So thread. So here we can give a name like same name, like PS 01 PB, um, whatever. Like we can save. So when you give a name, yeah, it will reflect here as the same name can update here as well. Test plans. Then so this is one small thing. The next thing is like this one filtering. So remove any irrelevant request and embedded resources capture. Okay. And, yeah, so first we will remove this. So starting from top, if you see till sorry home page only if you try to fix, so it's still here and so many stuffs are there which are irrelevant if you just click on here. See. So one by one we have to check and keep on deleting them. So like here also it's yeah. And this is the homepage request. Okay, so this we will keep, but below this, in the same transaction, if you see, this is the homepage request, but this is something else. Android client something Google. So this particular request will delete. So now this transaction and the request we have kept. Okay. Then this element we do not need. Apart from that, all homepage if you see, these all are irrelevant requests. But on name also you see telemetry zoom or analytics. This name, this path name will always reflect here. Let's see. And even without clicking on them, you can just filter it out by reading the path which is displayed here. So all these things you see, it's not related to our application. Or even this you see, right, this path is it's not related. So no need to worry. So once you have an idea of the requests related to that transactions, right? Or if we have filtered, written it down somewhere, right? Like suppose you have gone through them and you have written them, so you will be having clear idea. Right? So that's why pre homework or yeah pre work before recording. If you do that, it things become very easy. So, fine. So I have deleted homepage, and now you see after filtering out, look very clear on transaction homepage, and then it's request first. Then come enter store. Now enter store also you see two times it's there, and if you remember the request of enter store, or if you do not remember, and if you have written it somewhere, always refer it, right? Like you see here, uh, suppose this action dot catalog is enter. So it's it's showing here, or even if you click, you'll get ID like pet store and X. So we have to keep that, right? But apart from that, you see this is SVG file. This is something else. This is something else. We do not need. So by looking here also, you can filter out if you have an ID. Or if you want to cross verify, so click on each request and then you can go through them. Suppose pet store, but this is SVG file. It's embedded. This is also something. This is also something. So if you are not sure, just click them and see all the detail and verify and then delete. But if you see them here and it's clear, then in one go only without clicking also you'll be able to delete. But be careful while deleting. Uh, Suppose this enter restore is the transaction and this is its request. So we'll keep them, we'll not delete them. But this enter restore, you see, this is second time repeating, and inside that another thing. So this complete thing we do not need. So complete stock only will delete. Because always but transaction will be always one. Transaction name should be always one. And its request will be inside that. Maybe it can be one or multiple, but depending. Right? Now here sign in also you see four times, but sign in will be only one, and its request related request should be inside that. Other thing apart from that, any other thing will not be needed. And keep saving, right? Keep saving always your work. So now this sign in, if I open, you see it's very clear that this is not related to my application on which I am working or the scenario on which we are working, right? So even if you click, you can get it easily. Yeah, not related. So you can confirm like that. Then this sign in again. Not this is not very clear. It's saying here only. It's not our sign in transaction, or this is also you see. Now this sign. Okay. Let somehow sign in request where I deleted. It's not coming. It you open one more. So So that time the old stuff comes, the old saved file, the original one. So here signing request maybe I've accidentally deleted. So we can always take in the old one, right? The original one. Oh, it was here. See, this was, I deleted it. So we have to be careful. Copy this. We can always copy. So let us say I deleted it accidentally, in which we were working, right? So that's why I said to keep the original one, right, intact as it is. So I can refer this and I can copy this whole copy, and I can come here, click on simple controller and do control V. So how to copy this? This is selected, or this request, whatever. So select control C, copy, and click on simple controller, control V. So when you do control V, it will come in, and you will just drag and drop above. Enter store or sign. This is irrelevant. Delete. And this is the signing. This is the main request, and in that this is irrelevant thing. And I didn't focus, and I deleted accidentally whole thing. So it can happen. So that's why only this request will not. So leave that one. So sign in and it's sign in and keep saying. So that's why, right? You say in beginning I told that original copy we will say, so that any mistake or any reference meaning it should be always true. Then come this login, login. So this is the two both login requests. So they are fine. This login is not required. This one you can verify. Just do. So uh, just do not be in a hurry, right? Do with patience. So this all three we delete them. Then this login. Okay. So see, when you record from Google Chrome, it will happen, right? More this kind of thing will come, because I think in beginning also I've explained that Google Chrome uses system proxy, and that time when we do the recording, many system applications traffic, right? They communicate with their server and they get captured, right? So that happens. And when you do same from Mozilla Firefox, you'll see less such traffic being captured. So that difference is always observed. Fine. Next, this is select a page, and so it's a request. Right? We will keep that. Then this is another select a page, not required. Then product ID. So this is the select a product ID key. So we'll keep that, but these three requests below that are all irrelevant. We'll delete that. Select a product ID transaction. Then this one more select product ID. One more time, right? So this all two along with this transaction we do not need. Keep saving your work. Select item ID. Right? Select item ID. Right. Then add to cart. So add to cart. That is fine. This is another request which is irrelevant. We do not. Then proceed to checkout. This is the request, and this is irrelevant. So this transaction and its request, right? Fine. One more time, proceed to checkout. These are all irrelevant. All are this. So no need to click every time if you are 100% sure, and you can see this, right? And by looking only at this, if you be sure, no need to click. In one go, you can delete. But since as a beginner, I am saying that checking is more better. For me, I can identify them easily, and like suppose I know that this is relevant without clicking also, simply I'll just go and do delete like this. Enter details also. If you see, no need to click. If I open and see this irrelevant, I can delete. Okay, because it will be visible. Enter detail request, I remember what it is. Enter detail request start with something action order dot action, right? And that will be there. This is also not that one. So it is, this is the action order dot action. So this is that request. And this is all I remember. And confirm. Then my account again 2 times here. So you see, this is the one which is our application related. Other are all we do not. Is all we do. I also keep this. So booked order time second, right? So done. So once you filter them out and keep saving your, so you'll see how beautiful it will look. So now you can see 15 transaction and 15 requests, right? Two transaction have more than one. So this is that, and uh, another is like sign out, just two requests. So out of 15, only two transaction have more than one request, like two. So total, how many requests it has? 15 transactions are there. So 15 transactions are there. So 15 requests plus two extra, because two transactions have one extra. Right? So total 17 requests. Okay. This scenario has and 15 transactions. Fine. So that is done. Now, just for initial, like while enhancement, just to have the view here beautiful, what we can do is, if you wish, you can put check mark in this. Do not put check mark in this. Okay, this option for any transaction controller, this will be there. But just for beautification, initially you can put check mark on this. Why beautification? Because I think I have shown this earlier. Like suppose if I run this is called replay log, right? So here two time the thing will be shown home page entered, and thing can be confusing and more populated, right? So but if you put a check mark in all of them, and then when you are uh, they looks little bit beautiful. So as a initial or generally I also prefer, because it looks beautiful and it looks easy to work. Okay, so we can put it, but later on we have to remove, remember. I have written that also in PPT. So you see, you remember this view, how it looks. Now I'll just clear, and now I'll run it. So you'll see it looks little bit more beautiful now. See, so that is there. So this putting a check mark here is not compulsory, but only to have a good view when we are working. We can put a check mark, right? Put check mark in generate parent simple option for each transaction controller, right? But notice there that it's not mandatory, because we have to uncheck them in the last. Okay, in last we have to uncheck. Means when whole enhancement is completed, we have to uncheck that. Okay. So you can keep, you can not keep. Next is fixing transaction and respective request by considering below points. Okay, so something some points we have to fix it, like few is like, so these are this point which we are talking, these are important for better HTML dashboard reporting and display of transaction and request. So I'll also talk about this, how this is better. So first of all, yeah, first thing is, if if you have done any mistake or need any change in the name of transaction, or if you want to shorten the name of any request, go ahead and fix the name of those transactions and their respective request. So it means that when we were doing the recording, so we have given the transaction names, and if you see the same transaction name when we give it shows up here, right? And that even shows up in the request also, prefix. When we do the recording, we choose prefix. So what is the meaning of prefix is, like suppose this is login transaction and login has two requests, you see 39 and 14. So you see before that request, the path part is reflected here, the name. Okay. Same thing. This is the name which is shown here, path part. Okay, right. And before that path, the transaction name is attached. So login transaction and it has two requests. And you see before here in both transaction name is attached. It is everywhere, not only in this, everywhere it will be there. Okay, that is the meaning of prefix when we choose the prefix. Your naming is, and that is a good way because it becomes easy to identify which request belong to which transaction. Okay, like this request belongs to this transaction, like that it becomes easy because of this naming schema as a prefix, right? Fine. Now, so if you have done any mistake in the name of the transaction, so that is what that's like. If you have done any mistake, or if you need any change in the name of transaction, right? Or if you want to shorten the name of any request, go ahead and fix the name of those transactions and their respective. So any mistake means if you want to change this name, login or something, you can always do, right? It's not like that one you cannot do, but always remember that once you have done that, you have to update that here also. So suppose login some other, you want to give some other name. Maybe for an example, suppose I want to capitalize this. Generally, we capitalize login. Sometimes login is also called as sign in. Okay, sign in. For an here two sign in are there. That is ignore that for now. Just for understanding purpose, at many page when we do the login on many website, that is also called as sign in, right? So for an example, suppose I am changing it to sign in. So I can always change, and if you save, it will reflect here. Earlier it was login, now it's sign. Now same thing I have to update here also, or any spelling mistake, right? Suppose this was login, but spelling was wrong, and you want to rectify the spelling, right? Whatever. So you can always do, but once you have done and once you save it, so that same thing you have to update before the request as well, right? Here also you have to select. You see exactly before slash, right? Before slash or here before slash, the name will be, and in both places you have to update, right? You have to update. Same goes for any transaction. Suppose you want to rectify this, so you have to update here. You want to rectify this, you have to update it. Right? Okay. That is the rectification or change of name. Then if you want to shorten the some request name, like request name, okay, sometimes request name can be very big, and if you want to sort it, so we can always do. I'll show you also, like suppose this request name which is here, sign in request name, if you see it's very big. Okay, so we can make it short also. So I'll tell you later on how to make it short. Here one value is there which is dynamic value. First we'll understand about, then we'll make it short as well. Okay. So we can do that. So this is what this point says. Mm. So this is if condition, means if you require, then you can do. Next is another if condition, means if required, then only we have to do. If any misplaced or misarranged requests are found, arrange or put them in their respective transaction control. Mm. So sometime this is not very always, but sometime what happen that suppose some transaction can have more requests. Okay, some transaction can have more requests. And what will happen? Few requests of that transaction or one request of that transaction can jump in another request. Just for an example, I have made this. So suppose login has 5 requests and 4 are here, but one has jumped in another transaction, right? So that can happen. It's not like that it will not happen, but generally it will not happen when we wait for minimum 5 seconds. And that uh, like in the last session when I was doing the recording, that but why I was saying that we have to uh, we have to wait for minimum, because that's what, when every transaction is getting recorded, we should wait so that all requests of that particular transaction can get captured properly. But if jumping happen, like suppose the same thing, that one request of a transaction has jumped to another transaction, we can always copy paste and put it in same. Like suppose this is here, so select it, press Control X, to cut it, select this login and do Control V. You see it has came here. Like so, this fixing we should do, and you will be always aware, right? If you will be having idea, okay, this transaction have this many requests, and some requests have jumped in another transaction, so we should fix it, right? Uh, then so that is also if condition, means if that happens we have to do. Next is this one. This is also if condition, means so these are not mandatory. Why if means not mandatory, but if they happen we have to. Okay, fine. Last if is like, if request execution sequence has been messed up, arrange request for each transaction sequentially by taking reference from a fuel developer. Okay, this step should only be done for those transactions which are more than one request. So suppose again this also, like some transaction I have said, like can have more than one request. Now sometime it can happen that sequencing number. Okay, so what is the sequencing number? So if you see, with every request, JMeter assigns a number in the last. Okay, every request has this. Even the irrelevant requests also which were there, like here, this is the original one. So here also, even the irrelevant request, like this is irrelevant request or this is irrelevant, they have also sequencing number. So what happened? So with every request, there in the end there will be a sequencing number. Do not worry about, suppose this is 5, then where is 1 and then where is 2, or this is 16, then after 5 and this 16 middle where all are there. Do not worry about, and just focus on the request of all the transaction of that particular scenario. Okay, we have to just focus. Why these are missing? Because in between embedded resources, they are also there, and JMeter assigns like you see sequencing to them also, right? So that's why they are missing, right? So that is not important thing. Important is sequence number is assigned. You can see why these are there. So that is also a very beauty or reason for that. These are there to identify those requests in this recording log. I'll call this recording log. Okay. So in this recording log, if you see, this so many requests are there. So easily identify them. Suppose I want to end 1 to 55. So I can, instead of reading this, right? Instead of reading this, easily identifying them is here, 55, right? I want 71. So easily identifying them is 71 here. So many are there, right? See, 55 was here, and next 71 is here. In between, so many other things, means irrelevant things are also there, but we do not need that. And if you just keep on reading them, where is this? By request, if you want to find them, it will take much time. But by number, if you want to identify, it is very easy. So that's why there. So that is the beauty of this numbering. Get the point? So that's why number is given. Now, so sometimes this sequencing number can be messed up. Now, what is this? What is this? Means, suppose this login. I'm just taking this as an example because many things I cannot show you. That all depends on application type. So few things I have to tell you as an example by making it, let us say 38. So for an example, just think that login has 5 requests, but their sequence, then five requests or name will be also some different. Here it is same. For now, forget that. We can change, but yeah, let it be. So think like all different 4 names, 5 names are there, but their sequencing is messed up. Like if you see 39 is there, 40 is there, but 41 is there, 38 is there, right here, 43 is here. Now in JMeter, what happens when we run the test? All the requests fires in sequence from top to down, one after another. Okay. So suppose I'll run this animation. You can see all the requests one by one, they get fired from top to down. Now, even this is how also it is kept here in the same way, it will be fired. A problem is that, so actually sometime it can happen that messing up can happen. Now, what is this messing up? That messing up means this request is supposed to be fired first, then this request, then this request, then this request, and then this. Okay. And how you can verify? You can always verify when you inspect that in F12, or suppose you have written it somewhere, right? So there you can say, okay, which request is firing first, right? Which is second, which is third. You can write it, and you will be having idea. So, but so if that kind of messing up happen, you can always drag them up and rearrange them. So like this, you can do. You can drag it and up and down and rearrange them, depending on how each one is being fired sequence. Okay. So that we should do. Right. So that is what. So these all are if conditions. Remember, means only if that happens, we have to worry. Okay. Now the last one, which is important. This we have to do. These all are if conditions. Only when that is required, we have to do. Otherwise, we do not have to worry. These all 3 points. But this is important. We have to add numbers sequentially to all requests for only those transactions which have more than one request. So for only those transactions which are more than one request, right, means those transactions which are multiple requests, we have add number to that sequence. Now, what kind of this numbers? Already JMeter has added number than what I'm talking about. So this is about giving a name at the end of transaction name. Like suppose in this whole scenario, only 2 transaction login and sign out has more than one. So login has this and login has this and right. Now what we have to do is wherever the transaction name is ending, we have to give a number. Like suppose this is login, so we have to give 1. Here this is also this will be 2. Like here this will be sign out 1, this will be sign out 2. So like that. So for an example, this is login 1, this is login 2. Suppose login has one more, for an example, one more request for an example. So that will be 3. Okay, you see. So one, login 2, login 2. And same way, suppose sign out. So sign out will be again 1, sign out 2. If one more is there, so 3, sign out 3. So like that. Okay. Now, why is this? Right? Why we do? So see, what happens when we run a test and in JMeter, specifically, uh, not in JMeter, in computer world, everything is generally arranged using alphabetical order. Okay. So everything is generally arranged in alphabetical order. You see, this is a report for the same script which we are preparing. So this is the future. This is what like when we complete the scripting, we run the test. So this is how we get a report. Now remember, all this transaction and the request that we see in computer world, not only in JMeter, in any computer world, they have a habit of getting arranged in alphabetical order. in alphabet which come first, according to that everything will be arranged. Even suppose I'm in C drive. In my C drive, do you see all things G, I, J, right? In sequence, correct? Do you see them? Anywhere if you go here also, if you see sequence B, C, D, E, G, like that, right? Sequencing. So same way, transaction names are also arranged in sequence. Okay, understand? Now, why we give number here initially, like T01 or PA01? Like important thing T01 or PS01 or simply 01 also 02. Why we give that? Plus, why I'm saying to give a number here, right? I'm trying to explain. See, suppose this number is not there. Okay, suppose you are not giving the number. Okay, all these numbers just forget about that. These are all sequencing number you are not giving. So I've deleted them. Only name you are giving. Now, what will happen when we run a test and when we try to generate this report? This all transaction will be arranged in alphabetical order, right? We have just so in that case, what will happen? Suppose this add to cart is there, which is at number 8. That will always come first. Why? Because A is there, right? A is there. Then after the what you see, suppose E is there. Enter store will come, right? Second. Here enter details and content that will come third, right? Login will there. Then sign in will come down. So P will be there something. So this will be haphazard. Right? Arrangement will that be in proper sequencing or haphazard here and there, right? Haphazard. Which is better? This one is better or that haphazard is better, right? So haphazard it will happen because all transaction name will be arranged according to their alphabetical order, alphabets, right? And it will become haphazard, and then it will be not useful to look, right? Or anyone will get irritated while looking. And suppose same thing is in this particular order, it look beautiful. So that is the reason we give 01, 02, 03, 04. And to just make it good, we type T01 or T02 or T03, or generally I practice by giving a application name PA01, PA02. So if that way you'll give, so first preference will be given to, see, PS is same for everyone, so that will not impact anything. Then JMeter will consider next part, or computer world, the hierarchy will like this. So that will, okay, 01, 02. So it will arrange everything according to this number. Because after that only this thing comes, na? The first letter of each transaction name comes in picture. But before that number is there, so it will arrange them. But if number is not there, then it will arrange them according to the sequence. Like suppose A, then E, then this, like. Okay, right. So you got the point why we add this T01, T02 or P01, P02 in the beginning of the transaction, so that the reporting arrangement can be in sequence manner and in proper hierarchical manner in good. Okay. Next, why we give here also. Okay, here also. That is what we just talked, right? See, here also, what will happen that if you are not giving numbers, for an example, this number you are not giving. Okay. Now understand that this part, suppose if you see the name of these three transactions, so this is same till here. This is also same. This is also same, right? So this will also be arranged in alphabetical order. Now here, luckily here A is there and then C is there and C is there. So they will be arranged in good way. But understand that first request starts with D. This name starts with D. This name starts with A. Then this name starts with C. C. Okay. This is D. This is A. And this is C. This part is same. So this will not impact anything because that is when it will come to here. What in report how it will look? No, first A will come. This request will be displayed. Then C will. This third request will be, and then this D will come, which will be again misarranged, right? Misarranged, not properly. Getting the point. That's why I say here also we put 1, 2, 3. so that let it be whatever the name and which come first, which come last, they should be arranged in particular order. And that's why you see here also, um, I see properly login one, login two, or in, sign out one or sign out two. They are coming. You can ask me that here A and C there. That's why. That is luckily, right? Here luckily name is A and C. So alphabetically this comes first, this comes second. But it's not necessary in every application. It will be like this, right? Some other application request name can start with D here, or here only it will change. This will start with D and this will start with A. So suppose if you do not give this number, so what will happen in reporting? This one will come first, and this one D1 will come down. So misarrangement will happen. Right? So for that purpose, we have to add that number, and this number we have to only add. Remember, in those transactions which are more than one request, because in those only this will happen. Other transaction which have one request, no need to give, because there it's only one, right? So they will be arranged like single one. And this I'll delete, as you have just added this third request as example. Fine. So login one, login two. If one more is there, then login three. If one more is there, login four. Like sign out one, sign out two, sign out three, like that. Okay. So this is clear, right? This is clear. Next comes so this much done. So that's why we give numbers, right? Or here also, correct? Fine. Next comes this one. We have to add a cookie manager, especially inside each thread group, and put check mark in clear cookie each iteration. So cookie manager, right? To manage the cookie. So what we have to do is inside each thread group. Okay, inside each thread group we have to add, and it's an important element to add. Very important element to add. So you have to right click. You can just minimize this simple control. See why we keep this transaction inside a particular element like simple controller or recording controller. But recording controller we do not use. We can keep directly inside this thread group also. Right? This was not needed. But keeping this inside a simple controller kind of thing, make it easy. Suppose I can easily collapse it. I can expand it. I can move the simple controller anywhere, somewhere like that. So suppose I have minimized this. Now I can right click on thread group, go to add, go to config element, and you see cookie manager, click on that. So when you click that, it will be added here inside thread group one, but it will be below simple control. We can keep it here also, no problem. But generally, as a good rule, we should just drag and drop on top above simple. But it should be inside thread group one element. Now at cookie manager, just put a check mark. Clear cookie on each item. I'll be talking about that later on also, what it does, why this is important. But for now, understand that it handles the cookie. And what is cookie, right? How that is handled in browser, so same way it will be handled here as cookie. Cookies are handled by browser, and what is cookie, But since JMeter is not a browser, so cookie manager is going to handle the cookie in JMeter, right? In JMeter test plan for this thing. Next comes the very important thing, correlation and parameterization. So next step is find the dynamic values and do correlation and parameterization. So now what is this dynamic value and what is this correlation parameter? We'll try to understand. First, we'll try to understand about dynamic. Find the dynamic value in this. Okay, and then we have to do correlation and parameterization.
So you're gonna cover again the cookies, what is
Hmm.
cookie and all.
No, cookie, what is cookie, that I have covered. Right? Here, how it is handling, that I'll show you later. What is cookie? We have already discussed. No? What are cookie? How that is impacting?
Okay. So what is
What
the
did the
subgroups there? Like standard cookie, there are like different types of cookies, is it? So is it
eh?
covered?
Different type of
Now
cookie?
there are, yeah, in the settings you have some standard. There are different types of cookies, is it? With the drop down.
This
Yeah.
uh, okay. This by default is standard.
Okay. So when does it? I mean, when is it will be different? When can we choose these different methods over here?
You can choose, but I think it is not required. If you want to read more no, on this, like so, that page is there. It's always there. If you go to help, so it will tell. That. So for every element, we can do like that. What each element does, we can right click. If you click help, so that particular page will open up. That is the beauty. Suppose this is thread group. You want to read about that. So just click on help and that particular page will open. And all the thing you can read. Fine. Okay. Okay. So cookie, right? So that now come here for dynamic well, right? So what is dynamic finding? Now in the script, suppose one by one, if I go, let us say from one from top you have to start. So let us say first request. You do not see some value here, but if you come to enter story here, then sign in. So you will observe some numeric value here, right? You see. Then suppose we go to login, then here also you see here also you see them. Correct. Alphanumeric, big, small. Then you find that in interdigital also. See them. So actually, this value will not be understandable. Other thing you can understand. Okay, suppose you are on login, you have entered username and password. But what is this? Confusion can come. Na? What is that? That question can come. Here also, hey, what is this? The question can come. Then all these places, all these requests, if you see, they will look clean. Means like suppose here we selected fish, so that is the shown here. We selected a particular fish, that is shown here. One more fish, that is shown here. The same thing. It's clear, but here also nothing. But here, fine. These are the form data we filled. But what is that question mark will come, right? What is this alpha numeric in nature looking like? Correct? So that question will always be there. Okay. This value is in very particular pattern, alphanumeric. Special characters are also present. They are big, they are small, right? Here also, if you see. So these are called dynamic values. Why they are called dynamic values? Because they changes. Dynamic means change. So first we'll try to understand about this stuff. So dynamic value. Okay. Dynamic values are the values coming from server side in previous response and passes with subsequent request back to the server. Okay, back to this. They are never static in nature. They changes every time for every same transaction and for every user on the website, right? So for every user they change and they are never static in. So first let us try to understand about this dynamic. Okay. Now comes, so let us understand this. So suppose this is browser and this is server. Server means application. Now what happens that sometimes suppose you have sent a request, you have done one transaction, right? So a request went. Now what will happen in response? So response came. Now this request is divided into request header plus sorry, request body. Right? Then response came, and in that it's response plus response header. Okay. What will happen sometimes in, it depends on different application. This behavior is different, but we have to just understand this behavior. Now what is that behavior? Okay. So you have sent a request, response came. Now what will happen with that response, either in response body or response header? Mostly in response body, server will send a value called dynamic value or the dynamic value 1. Okay, you send the request, server sends the response. In that response, obviously response is the response body, response header, and with that one value came from server side called dynamic value. And remember, it will always come from server side only, like cookie. Remember cookie session we talked. So there was a cookie value, JSession value, which first it was coming from server side only, and then whatever the request we were doing, it was going back to the server with the request, right? So coming from first time from server and going back to this. So these are also like that, but cookies role and responsibility is different. Okay, why cookie there? It's totally different thing. Dynamic value is totally different thing. It is kind of security or kind of authentication. Okay, so how it is authentication and all those things is, but nature if you try to understand, it's same. So first it will come from server side only. Now what will happen? Then suppose you did this. Then suppose you are doing another transaction T2. Okay. So again you send that request. So it will go there. Now what will happen with that request? Uh, we have to send back request body plus request header plus that dynamic value. We have to send back to the server. The same dynamic value which came from server in previous, remember this is previous response, right? Previous server send that. Now next transaction what you are doing, so obviously next request will go. With that request we have to send back that dynamic value to the server. Then only the server will entertain this request, means it will accept that request, and then only it will send you the response. If that dynamic value which you are sending it back is not there, even though everything is correct, request is correct, with the request whatever we are sending everything is correct, but the dynamic value if we have not sent it back to the server, server will not accept it. server will not entertain that request, and it will never send that response also. Okay, so this is how important this value is, right? Like that, uh, again, in another transaction you are doing, so request went, now response came. So again, with that response, another dynamic value can come, which is db2. After that, whatever request you are sending, with that request, this is response. The same dynamic value you have to send back, another dynamic which will be this, you have to send back. So this is a value which authenticate that next request to the server. Authenticate means yeah, security kind of thing, right? So in the website there will be different transaction in which you can see, you can either see same value or you can see different dynamic values. And when we do the recording, we see this dynamic value going in the request, and they gets captured, because when we did the recording, we send the request, right? That time we are sending this value, so with that, this dynamic value also went to the server, and that time you see them getting captured, or suppose you'll see this getting captured. So it means what? It means that it has came in previous response, right? Previous response. Okay, and that is the reason that is the reason. If you see here, do you see one dynamic value? Okay, so it means what? It is in request URL, right? This is request URL, means its body. It means that it came previously, okay, in previous response, right? In previous response means before this, which is there before this 16 is there. So in 16 it came. Then in login we see, right? So here also. So why we see get captured? Because this request went, right, and with this request this all data went, but along with that this two value also went to the server. That's why it has been captured in request part. So just now a diagram I have shown, right? In request part they will be sent back to the server. So it means that this all thing were going to the server, and with that also this two value went to the server, and that is the reason they get captured. But it means that it has came from the server in previous, because server will be first sending it. So this is the request, right, through in which it is passing back to the server. It means that it has came in the previous response, maybe in the response of this. Okay, so there is another rule for that, but for now understand like that. The server may have sent in previous response, and here also. Suppose here also, you see here also. It means that it has came. It is passing. It got recorded when it got captured when we were doing the recording, right? Because it was passing to the server with this all information and with this, but it came from the server in previous response only somewhere, right? And that's why, but coming we can also see, coming we can see here, will talk about that. But here, since requests are captured, that's why you will observe them, because with request they are getting fired, and they, since requests are captured here in this area, so we see them, right? And sometimes you can see the same dynamic value at multiple places. You can see for every transaction there can be like this different dynamic value, right? So this will be the application to application. Now, why this is important, okay, or why we have to worry about that? And most of our work depend on this one, okay, like most of the scripting announcement. Oh, it's not going up for this. Okay. Okay, I'll try it. So why it is important, right? The browser server. request request body request button, response body response setter. Let us say dynamic thing. Now with that next request that went request um, request body plus request header plus that dynamic value dv1, same dynamic value will be passing back. Okay, then only this request will be entertained, otherwise it will not. Then only server will send you response. Then suppose one more transaction you did, so same way with its response server send the another value dv2, right? Then you are sending another request after that. So with that request, you have to send that dv2 back to the server. Okay. Now, why it is important? And 50% of work in scripting is fixing the dynamic value. Remember. So why it is important? So it is important. We have and it's we have to understand its properties and importance. So there are three important things we have to understand about this. And to make it understand, I'll take the example of OTP. Remember, but they are not similar. Their behavior is same. OTP we know, and I'll try to take example of banking OTP. But do not directly put a relation between them. Okay, just for understanding, because OTPs everyone has experienced that in his life, right? So it is easy for me to do a example, but they are not directly related. Okay, they are not directly related. Okay, remember the example which I was. Their behavior is same. Operating behavior is same. So first thing. Okay, out of three things, first thing is suppose we are on ICICI banking page for an example, and we are sending money. So this is ICICI browser or ICICI app, okay, whatever. And this is ICICI server, and this is user mobile for an example mobile. You are on that page where you are finally sending a money to suppose your mom or dad, whatever, whoever. So on final page, it will ask for a OTP. Right? Nowadays, for some transaction it asks, for some other time it doesn't ask, but yeah, many banking application ask the OTP. Okay, now so this is server. So suppose you are on the final page where it has asked for the OTP, and once you enter the OTP and click on submit button, submit, Spain doesn't write very well, not worry. Submit, submit. So once you put the OTP, submit, and finally amount will be transferred. Now understand, here OTP is required. Who sends the OTP? OTP is sent by the server only. So who is sending OTP first? Server is sending OTP first. So server is sending dynamic value first. Understand? Server is sending OTP first. Server is sending dynamic value first. You are putting the OTP and sending that request back to the server. So here also we are sending the next request, and with that request, the dynamic value needs to be sent back. Once that OTP is sent back to the server, then only authentication happens and money is transferred. Here also, once the dynamic value which first server has only sent uh, is received by the server, then only the next request is authenticated or yeah entertained by that server. Getting a point? So who is sending that value? Server, and again it's going back to the server. Okay. Same. So OTP is also server is sending and it's going back to the server, either on mobile app or browser. It's working same, right? In mobile app, it reads automatically. If you are using web browser, you have to just put it. Correct? Next thing, so that is point number one. Point number two, even if you are doing the same transaction repeatedly, let us say after you send that money to, suppose you send it to your dad, then immediately you are sending within fraction of second or within second, you repeatedly, even if you are sending to your dad again, right? Remember, again to your dad only you are sending again, but repeating, right? I'm saying. So that time again it will ask for a OTP, and that time server will again send you that OTP. So this will be, let us say it is OTP 2, new OTP, right? That new OTP you have to send it. Then only you can resend it to your dad, right? So it means what? That OTP has changed. The OTP is new, and the new OTP we have to send it here. We cannot send the old OTP or the earlier OTP. Can we use the earlier OTP? Right? You know the answer, right? We cannot use the earlier OTP even though we are sending the money to same person. We cannot use the OTP one, earlier OTP. No. Server will send us the new OTP, and we have to send that new OTP here, and then only the transaction. So same way, even if you are doing the same transaction, so server will always again send the same new dynamic value. Even the response and other thing will be same, but dynamic value will be different. And again, the same transaction, even if you are doing maybe any transaction, let us login or whatever. So that same new dynamic value which is came, that dynamic value you have to send it back to the server. Okay, new one, which server is saying, because server will keep on sending new dynamic value, even though transaction is same or request is same. But if you are repeating it, remember, repeating it, a server will always send you new one and value, and that new value you have to send it back. You cannot use the old one. And the script, that those value that you see, those are old one, actually means they have already used. Means when we were doing the recording, the server has already sent them, and they were going back to the server in this request, and that time they got captured in the script, right? So they has become old. Now in place of them we have to send new one. So that is about second point. They changes, that's why their name is dynamic. Well, they are never same. Even for same transaction, same request, if you repeat it, they will always change. Next, right? So that is point number two. About point number three, even multiple users. Okay, suppose 1 lakh user, 1 lakh user are sending money to their dad, but different, right? Everyone will be sending to their own, right? Like that. So at the same time, main point is that at same time, so each one will get different OTP in their mobile, right? Correct, from the ICC server only, and each user has to enter what they have received at that page and then send it back. So you see the uniqueness. Do you see? Even 1 lakh user at same time they are sending money. So server will send them 1 lakh unique OTP. It will never be seen. And each user has to use what he has received and then do that, complete that transaction, right? Then only money can be transferred. So you see uniqueness. Plus, they cannot interchange. Can they interchange? They cannot interchange. Server will know. You and your friend, if you suppose same ICSC and trying to send it at same time, you cannot interchange. That is the main thing. Right? Server will know. So here also, even if the same transaction, this is for one user I have seen. But let us say 1,000 user or 1 lakh user are doing this. So they all are sending this request. They receive this response, and they are going to send this next request. All 1,000 user or 1 lakh user. Okay. So what will happen? This next request is important for authentication. So for all, server will send in previous response, right? In this. To each user, it will send a different way. This response can be seen, but this value will be different for him, for every user. Okay. And when they are doing the next request, sending next request to server, they have to send what they have received back to the server. They even cannot interchange, right? So you see, 1 lakh user doing the same, they will all receive 1 lakh different dynamic values from the server, and it will never repeat. Like as I said, right? Suppose this 1 lakh user again they are doing that, so this value will change again. One new 1 lakh value will come. Like here, same like one lakh people again they are sending immediately. So again they will receive another OTP or 1 lakh, and that OTP never remains same. This is always changing, right? Even for 1 lakh user also, it will never happen that for two people it will same. It will never happen. So that uniqueness is there. Here also it follows the same. So you got the point, right? These are three important points related to this dynamic, and that is why we bother about this dynamic value. Okay, and fixing of the dynamic value in this script is called process of that is called correlation and parameters, and that is why 50% of work in this script enhancement, or we say script preparation, is about fixing this dynamic value. Now, why it is fixing is that's what I said, that when we were doing the recording, right? We were recording this scenario. So at that time, what happened? This request got fired. But with this request, the dynamic value is passed. It means that this dynamic value was sent in back response by server only. Maybe in this or maybe some other back. And then it passed with this request back to the server and it got captured when we were doing the. Now it is done. Means it has been generated and it has been used here because it uh, coming from server is generating and going back to server getting used, right? So only one time this OTP value or the dynamic value is only one life, right? It will come from server one time and goes back to the server and that's it. Correct? Its life is over. So it went to the server and it got recorded and it has now it become old. Now what will happen? Now again when we run this, right? Do you see here when we are running this home page, enter store, and again sign we are doing, right? So even we run for one user, so you see them one time. Suppose if I run for 10 users, you'll see them 10 times. So what will happen? Then that time here new value we have to pass because server will send a new value in the response. Maybe in the previous, always in previous only it will come, right? So because always server will send it first. So if you are seeing it here, it means that in previous, maybe in 16 or in 5, response of 5 or response of 16, this value has came in the response uh, body, okay, in the response, right? So when we will be running again, this new value will be coming, and that new value we have to pass because this one we cannot use it. Same way here also, this suppose in login, here you see these two value, they came from server either in response of this or this or this, right? Whichever, and it got passed in 39 when we did the recording back to the server along with this username and password. And now they are of no use because they already went to the server when we did the record. They have expired. Now when we run this, they will be passing back as it is, right? But server will not accept them because every time a new value server will send and that new value we have to pass. We cannot use it. This thing like OTP, we cannot reuse it. Same here also, right? So again, when we were sending this enter detail thing, so this all with this request where we were filling this stuff and we send this request. So with that, this two value passed back to the server back. It means that either in response of 58, 53, 55, 53, maybe anyone, server has sent this two value, right? And then they passed back to the server. Now we have to send it new value when we'll be running. Again, server will be sending that value. Maybe in any one of them, we'll understand where, but in any one of them it will be coming, or maybe here also. It can be anywhere. There is a rule for that. I'll be telling. But yeah, so in response it will be there, and then it has to be passed here the new value, right? So And I can show you, suppose one example, the simplest one for now. Right? So let us say this is the value which is passing here in 34. So it will be there in response of 16 or in 5. First, we have to try in the immediate one. So let us copy this value and try to find that in response of 16. Okay. Here it is 16. You see. Now let us go to response data. And so there will be response body and response header. Where we have to find that also, I'll say. First, find in response body. So paste it here and click on find. So you'll see that value is there or not. It is in response of where? Of 16. Of 16. And then the same value passed back in 34 in the URL. You can see here. Right? Or at the recording also, 34 if you see. This is 34. You can see in the URL. One more example for login. Let us say anyone, source page or FP, anyone will take. Suppose this one. I'll try to select it, double click and press Control A and Control C. Select Control A for selecting or Control C for copy. Now go back, immediate one. So before 39, this is the request, right? So response, immediate response is the request. Immediate response is the response of this request, which is 34, right? 34. So we'll go back to 34. We'll go back to response. Here we'll paste that value and click on find. So you see here, source page value, name is same, but value is different. Value is this one. And the same value passed back. So this is in response, right? And this is passing in the next request called login. Yeah. So login here 39. You can see it's going back to the here. And that is why it got captured here. So it means what? It was there in previous response. Now what will happen when we always rerun it, or even in browser when we do that, always new value will come. Like let us say the J session ID. Right? Let us say this value. We found it in here, right? In 16. Name is J session ID. So this one, the one old one. Now suppose I have run it, or let us. So if you go to 16, and again if you see that value called J session ID, which is here. See this value. This is new one. Old one was what? This is the old, and that was there at the same place in here. Here, in the same place, in the same line. You see, this was the old one, and it got it came from server in 16 and got passed back to the server in 30, like that value. But now if you see in the same place in the 16, in the same place, this is 16, and in the same place, right? Here also, if you see the line of code, you see, and here this is in the same place, but value is different, new value is coming. And this new value we have to pass here, here. Because here still it's taking old value, because yeah, it will take, because it is hard coded. It's like, so that new one we have to pass. And the same process goes for every like these two value also, or these two values. So now how we'll do that, right? So that is what we have to extract that value from this 16, right? From the response of this 16. We have to extract this value, new value, and pass it over here where it needs to be passed. Same way in the response of this, the source page will come. Source page value, you see, the new one will come, and that we have to extract and pass in the next login here, here, new one. So this process of extracting, because server will send in response, previous response. So you have to extract them and then sending it the next request back to the server, right? Back to the server. So it will come in response, and we have to send back in request to the server, because with request only it will go, right? So this whole process is called uh, this extraction and like extracting and passing. This process is called correlation and parameterization. And 50% of work, remember, in script enhancement is this one. Okay. And if you do not pass them, so it will only use the old one which is there, and like OTP, right? We cannot use old one. So same way, this application will not take this dynamic. I mean, if you use them as it is, so what will happen? This request will get fired, but the application will not accept this request, and it will throw error. Okay, they will throw error. So that is very important. And yeah, okay. So that's why I'm repeatedly saying that in 50% of cases, oh, sorry, 50% of work on script fixing or working of the script or enhancement of the script or script preparation is fixing of this dynamic value, because until unless you send the new value, this request will not be accepted by server. Then what is the use, right, of sending this request? Right? No use. Now I'm going to show you one thing before we close. Uh, how many people? I think it's few people. Okay. So in browser, does it happen? So I'll be showing it in browser and then close. So let me show you in the browser and why we need to do that. This happens in browser also. This all idea will get, right. So better to open the mode so that fresh values and everything will be there. Fine. So same application. Ticket store. This is enter store. Now see, this is enter store. Okay. And this is response, but response always in code format. So enter store, right? Enter store 16. Correct? 16. So we have response here, or you can, if you also want, you can right click and click on view page source. So response will be. You see this value, right? That value will also be there here. This is same because it's same. It's here 2970. Just capture that, copy that. It is there in many places. Do not worry. It is there one place, right? So it is there in response, correct? It has came from server only. Okay. I have copied that also. I selected that. Now I will clear this and I will click on sign. Do you see that value, same value passing in request? Yes. Do you see that same value? What was the value which I captured is this? Now do you see this same 2970 or here? It came, right? It came from server on and then passed that. Now again, next one. So we are doing login and we are sending username password, but with login in the script, if you remember, we have two values, right? Yes, source page and FPID. So in application also, and then generally you have to always check in immediate. So it's going in 39 login first request. So it will be there in response of 34. These two values, right? Name is same, value will be different because it will always change. Now, so this is the page, sign in page means this is the response of 34, sign in 30, right? Request number 30. So this is sign in page. Now, if you go and check the response, you'll see here source page. Generally, two source pages are there. This is one and this is one. We have to take the second one for this application. Second. Now, let me just copy this. When I do not copy all, I'll keep copy few. source page, right? And then there is, I have not copied all. It's very big. It's from here to here. It is there. And then there is FP value. Here, two places are there, here also, here also. They are both different, but you have to consider this because it is taking this. So FP value, right? And this is what FP value. And just put it here. Now I'll do signing for you, right? So clear this. So what was the password? Jojo, and then what was the password? Jojo 15, right? Or even even we do take another username password also. It doesn't have to do anything. Password can change, but this behavior will not change. So I'm using a default password, which I've told earlier also, which is default for this J2EE J2EE, because you should not have a confusion that it's password dependent or username dependent. So I'm using a different username. I'm doing login. Now, when I did login, you see the first request account.action, and with payload, you see username, password, password. But what you see, source page and FPID, are both values same or not? And I'll put it here. See, this was source page ID. This was FPID. This is it. So this both came in previous response of signing and went back to the login. Right? It happened in browser also, means in real time in application also. So it's not that only in script it happens. Okay, it happens in real time. And only thing when we do the recording, they gets captured when request is filed or when request is filed, right? They gets captured. But actually they happens in real time also. And we are not aware of that because a normal user, what he is to do with all this stuff. So that's why this is important. This is hidden, right? It is hidden stuff or technical stuff happening in backend on at network level. That's why I call network, right? So even in real time, in real application, even in browser, this thing happens. So even again, if you do it repeatedly, like let us say again, just very quickly, same thing. Suppose one more time, you will just for one also, or just so this is enter store. Again, if you see one more new value, response. This is 65565, and clear this. Click on sign in. Do you see that letter 65? Right. Earlier, what was that? Earlier, this was previously when we did same demonstration. This was the value. Now this is the value, right? And again, on this page only those dynamic will be there. Suppose the source page ID or what. You see, two are there, but we'll take this 9Z or something. Right? I'll copy this 9Z. So I'll just copy only one just for understanding. So now you see this is the source page. Earlier this was the, now this is, and even I will log in again with same credentials. Go to the or another one also. Let us say this credential. Credential has nothing to do with this because these values are independent of this credential or anything or yeah, default behavior. So login payload. So username password, but if you see this source page, right? If you see that. Okay. This I have not copied full. Actually, it's so but it's there. So it's happening. So in application also it happens, and hence it gets captured in a script when we do the recording. The problem is in application we do not see them. They are hidden in UI. This is called user interface. You do not see this activity. Correct? They are hidden. They are happening in network background. Plus, here browser handles them automatically. Means it's coming in the response and it's going back to the server in request. and automatically it's going back and it's getting handled. New value is coming, and every time a new value is passing, it's getting handled, right, automatically, because that is the work of browser. Now here we have to get them that done, because again here new value has to pass, or here new value has to pass, and JMeter or any performance testing tool cannot do this automatically, like take the value automatically and pass it here. No, it cannot do. So we have to make it done, because in we have just seen in real time also in application response that new value will come, and that we have to take and pass it here. So extracting it, passing, or like that here this value again, new value will come in this response, that you have to take the source page id, the fp id, new, and you have to pass it here, that we have to make it done. That is why we have to make it done, right? That is what preparation of the script or script enhancement, correct? So that is about correlation, or not correlation. Correlation not discussed yet. Correlation means doing that, but how to do, right? That we'll see. That is about dynamic value and why it is important. So in application, this behavior we do not see. In the UI, we do not see them. It's hidden. We will never see them in UI, but this is happening in the background. Even this value, they are coming in response. Do we see them here? No, because they are in code. They are hidden in the code, response code. Correct? In UI, they do not see. And that is the reason there are two type of dynamic value. One is pure dynamic value, conventional one. One is non-conventional. So I'll be talking about them tomorrow. For now, for today, this much. So any question? Videos will be shared. I'll share to you. Yeah, do not worry. On weekend too. Fine. Anything else? Okay then.